Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding through the back like fuck. What's that on a beat, bro? Deep, bro, in the back. He a freak, though, man down, call an ambulance. Tell him breathe. Let them boys to the cross, they walk around like thieves. What's up with these Jabroni, trying to see Compton. What's up?
That's out of this world. And the thing is, if they win the Champions League again, like he did with Bayern, you can guarantee every coach is going to start copying this. Okay, It's high risk, but it's high reward. They're the high scorers, in the top 5.
It's how you execute it.
And it is. And the thing is, when you play top teams, you'd think you'd get late midfield runners or you get people bending their runs, but they must practice it so much that they seem to get it right. I think Martin came in at left back. He looked like he struggled a bit. When Balde comes back in and Ter Stegen's back in, I think they might have it down a little bit better. But look, high risk, high reward. Hansi Flick's been here and done this before. I think he believes this group, they can get it done. They just have to execute on the night.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the match between FC Barcelona and Dortmund. And yes, Barcelona have defeated Dortmund 5-3 globally. Of course, in the second half, Barcelona lost to Borussia Dortmund 3-1, but does that really mean anything? I started to see a lot of comments and a lot of publications coming from the media stating that Barcelona have broken their unbeaten streak for 2025. That was the first few things that was said after Barcelona have gone through the semifinals of the Champions League for the first time since 2019. That was one of the first few things. Everybody started to say Barcelona have broken their unbeaten streak in 2025. And let me tell you guys, Argentina also broke their unbeaten streak against Saudi Arabia during the World Cup of 2022. Did that mean anything? Like, honestly guys, did that actually mean anything at the end of the day in that tournament? No. Argentina went on, they learned from those mistakes, and they won the World Cup. It did not mean a single damn thing. Everybody was clowning on Argentina back in that World Cup saying, where is Messi? Where is this? What happened to Argentina? Argentina's not going to win the World Cup. If they can't defeat Saudi Arabia, how are they ever going to win the World Cup? But in the end, Argentina persevered because they had the mentality, they had the ability to learn from the mistakes, and that is it. They became world champions. And the same thing is going to go on with FC Barcelona. FC Barcelona, just because they lost against Dortmund 3-1 with a hat-trick coming from Gurasai, it does not mean a single thing. I am sorry guys, but that is just how it is. I know that a lot of you guys want to see Barcelona not succeed, lose their form, because I also understand that the majority of the people here do want to see Barcelona go down because they are not FC Barcelona fans or they just don't understand football. But this is just how football is. Sometimes you lose. And let me tell you guys, if you don't think that national team performances matches club performances and there's no correlation there, Barcelona also lost to Bayern Munich in the second leg back in the 2014-2015 semifinal match. They lost to Bayern Munich 3-2. Did that mean anything at the end of the day? No, nothing. Barcelona lost against Bayern 3-2 in the second leg and went on to win the Champions League. So it doesn't mean anything. Different setting, same story. At least Benfica fought back. At the very least, right? At least Benfica gave us a headache and Barcelona went over Benfica 5-4 with Rafinha scoring on the 96th minute. At least it ended up 5-4. This match ended 5-3. So what's going on here? Barcelona have reached the semifinals for the first time since 2019 without Lionel Messi. With a 17-year-old Lamine Yamal, an aging Lewandowski, a non-Brazilian player, supposedly, right? Non-Brazilian player Rafinha, and we got through, right? Because in the first leg, we got the job done and it ended up going 4-0. So put some respect on Hansi Flick's name. Overall, everything that Barcelona have done this season in the Champions League and also in La Liga has been phenomenal. And I also want to congratulate Borussia Dortmund for trying to cause some trouble against Barcelona for participating, right? Congratulations to Dortmund for participating, but the superiors is Barcelona, just like how we outclassed Benfica earlier. And Dortmund at their home 3-2, also Brest, also Bayern Munich. Barcelona have been the best team in the Champions League. You can say, no, Liverpool finished first in the Champions League table. Okay, but where is Liverpool? Liverpool is not nowhere near the semifinals. They didn't even make it to the quarterfinals. So Barcelona overall, they are the best team in the Champions League. So don't let the media and these people try to manipulate or twist the story of what's going on here, okay? And all of the information that they're trying to put out. Barcelona, yes, they have lost against Borussia Dortmund 3-1, but it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. And here's what gets even more crazy. Everybody wants to call out Barcelona losing 3-1 to Dortmund, but did anybody pay attention to what happened with PSG and Aston Villa? PSG at one point in this match against Aston Villa, they were winning, I believe, 2-0, and then Aston Villa came back and making it 3-2. There was a huge letdown coming from PSG. That was never supposed to happen. But nobody says, oh my god, PSG's defense is weak, and if they play like this in the next phase of the Champions League, they're gonna go down. Nobody has that type of agenda because they are PSG. But when it comes to Barcelona, of course, everybody's gonna say Barcelona's defense seems so insecure and that they're gonna be making mistakes. No, it happens to all clubs. These things happen all the time. And And at the end of the day, PSG are the ones in the semifinals, not Aston Villa. And that is because PSG in the first leg did the work that they needed to do. And that is just like FC Barcelona. So in this game, we started with a very strong lineup. We had Szczesny in goal, with our backline being Jules Koundé, Araujo, Cubarsí, and Gerard Martin, with our double pivot being Frankie and Gavi. And then our attacking four was Lamine Yamal, Fermín López, Rafinha, and Lewandowski. It was a wild starting 11 because you would assume that Pedri should have started in this game, but Hansi Flick wanted Pedri to rest. As a matter of fact, like if we looked at Pedri's performance in the past two matches outside of the match against Dortmund, right? The two matches before this one, Pedri was not at his best level. He was playing okay, but not at the exceptional level that we saw him over the past 6 to 7 months. That was a sign of fatigue. He wasn't injured, he wasn't playing bad, neither. It was just a sign of fatigue, and Hansi Flick wanted to rest him, which made total sense. And I believe that, you know, this team is good, but it is not the same when Pedri is not there. Like when Pedri is there, Barcelona just reach a whole other different level. Barcelona's possession game, the ability to retain the ball, gets better by like 3x when Pedri is in the 11. The moment really did change in the second half when Pedri came in for Gavi, and we had a midfield of Pedri and Frankie de Jong, and we just became much more fluid. However, I'm gonna say this though, for some reason, even though our defense was on lock, just like how we had it over the past few games, Lamine Yamal and Rafinha have been very underwhelming in my opinion. I'm also gonna talk about Araujo in just a few seconds, but Lamine Yamal and Rafinha have been underwhelming. They have not been bad. It's just the fact, you know, like we have been so spoiled at what Rafinha and Lamine Yamal have been able to do in the Champions League that when they don't do a single damn thing and they just pass for the sake of passing, we're like, okay, that's a bad game. And to be honest, I'm just gonna say that they were very flat, very uninspired. We wanted much more from Lamine Yamal. Even though he completed the most dribbles, which was a total of 3, he also lost the most duels, which was a total of 9, and he barely completed any key passes to any of his teammates, whether it was Lewandowski or Rafinha. Rafinha, as somebody who creates a lot of chances, had 0 chances created. Only 1 shot on target, 1 block shot, and that was it. 49 touches, 5 touches in the opposition box, and 3 passes into the final third. And because of that, right, usually when we see Lamine Yamal and Rafinha so uninspired, Lewandowski also does suffer with that. Hence the reason why in this game, he only had 28 touches. That's very little. And then 1 touch in the opposition box and 2 passes in the final third. So he had a very minimal game. So it was all about whether Barcelona could defend their lead or not, which they did because it ended 5-3. But in the end, when you see that the opposition cannot score against you, you're going to get inspired and you're going to start to think, okay, if they can't score against us, we have to take advantage of this right now. And that is why Borussia Dortmund were able to score 3 total goals. We saw a lot of errors coming from Ronald Araujo, right? Araujo was the one that made an error that led to a goal for Dortmund. And this is what I mean, right? This is what I mean by stating that right now I am much more comfortable with Inigo Martinez and Cubarsí at the back. You guys can go back to a couple of videos ago, and I did state that, and everybody was saying like, no, Kevin, how can you say that? Araujo is a really good center back and he showcases it in every game. But I'm telling you this right now, Araujo is a player that I rely on when it comes to covering up a lot of space from behind when they are counterattacking us. Araujo did phenomenal in this game. He did. Araujo has specific skill sets in his defensive game that is undisputed. But when it comes to like you about to have the ball or you're having the ball and you have possession, Araujo is not one of the best players. He makes mistakes. When he is being pressured by one of the players, he tends to make misplaced passes or gives the ball to the opposition, and that's not good. With Inigo Martinez, you barely do see that. Barcelona were really missing the experience at the back. I wanted to see Inigo Martinez with Cubarsí, but we had to be very tactical here because if Inigo Martinez had 1 more yellow, he would have missed the next game, and I am not trying to have Inigo Martinez absence for the semifinal match because Hansi Flick even knew that the semifinal match was like 98% there, which is the reason why he was able to sacrifice his defense just for the sake of Inigo Martinez to have the appearance in the semifinals. Araujo had to play no matter what, and we just had to deal with it. Gerard Martin also had a really good game. Not the best offensive game like what we have talked about before. I know that Balde is much better in that, but defensively, really good. He had the most tackles in this match with a total of 5. 41 out of 49 passes were completed. He created 1 chance, 79 touches, 2 out of 5 long balls completed, and all of his tackles that he did distribute, which was again 5, it was completed. 5 out of 5 tackles won. Amazing. 5 clearances, 3 headed clearances, 1 interception, 5 recoveries, and dribble passed only once. In the end, this is going to be the conclusion for the players and for Barcelona's current situation. Barcelona have reached the semifinals of the Champions League for the first time since the 2018-2019 season. That is a big deal, and because of this, Barcelona have received 15 million euros for reaching the semifinals. Araujo also responded, "We're happy to be in the semifinals 6 years later. This club deserves it. We're working hard. There are things that need to be corrected because this could have slipped through our hands." Hansi Flick also stated, "The opponent was very good. The atmosphere was tremendous. It's not easy to play games like this, but we have qualified." Cubarsí also explained, "We have to be happy because it's been a long time since we have reached the semifinals. I haven't seen the tie in danger. We need to do some real self-criticism criticism. We didn't play the way that we wanted. And that is it, right? So like, as long as these players have that type of mindset and they know that they have made some mistakes and that some things need to be corrected, that is completely fine. We move on from there. We're in the semifinals. We have a lot of games to go to be claimed as champions for many of the trophies that we are still till this day competing for. And that is very, very exciting. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.